she was so happy to see him. And she was like crying when he got there. And it's kind of amazing because their relationship was so strained when she lived with us. But to be on the other side, it's like, it is a gift. Well, welcome to episode 69 of The Real Deal. I am your host, Janine Igliani, and my guest co-host today is Monday Adair. This will be fun. And I think our topic with our guest today is going to be one that is really, really valuable because here in the Valley, we have a lot of seniors. And a lot of them are making big life decisions. Not only that, but I have several friends where we're having to help our parents make those decisions. So this will be exciting. So Ari, Veronica, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having us.
A little bit about you guys. So Golden Era Senior Solutions is a local certified placement and resource company in Arizona with a passion for helping families navigate the often complex process of finding senior living options. Veronica and Ariana work closely with clients to identify the best resources tailored to their specific needs. Golden Era Senior Solutions offers comprehensive support from providing a wide range of options to accompanying families on tours and assisting with every step of the move-in process. Their goal is to ensure a seamless transition and peace of mind for both seniors and their families, offering guidance and expertise along the way. Whether you're seeking independent living, assisted living, or memory care, we're here to guide you every step of the way. I love that.
Yeah.
So before we jump in, we want to know a little bit about you guys. So how did you get into this line of work? Why did you get into this line of work?
For sure.
We have a similar backstory. You want to go first?
I can, yeah. So I've always said this, senior living is something that you get into and either you hate or you love, right? And for whatever reason, I started in senior living when I was 15 and a half, really. So I became a receptionist and I never left.
Yeah.
Never left. Did everything from managing communities, admissions and skilled nursings. I mean, you fall in love. So you fall in love with everything that you do, with the people around you, the stories you hear, and you find a way to keep your passion, going.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Very similar to Ari's, though.
Yeah, mine was a complete fluke. I was touring a community with my grandma, for my grandma. She didn't end up moving there. She ended up staying in another state. But we were touring and the salesperson just looked at me and very kindly, this could sound sarcastic, but very kindly, she just said, "You talk a lot. Do you want a job here?" And it kind of took me back. At that time, I was in a ton of schooling, a ton of different things going on. And 2 weeks later, I went back and I was like, "How about that job?"
Oh, funny.
And then exactly what she said, I just fell in love with it. I got to talking with the residents and knowing them and hearing their stories and hearing what they did in their life and love to still do. And it was so incredible that I was like, I don't want to do anything else. I want to stay with seniors.
Yeah, I love that. That can't always be easy though, because sometimes, right, it's not necessarily a move that somebody wants to make or having to kind of come to that realization of my life is changing. Yeah. How do you handle that?
It's challenging. A lot of the work that we do is one-on-one with support. Really, it's honestly emotional support and everything. We're sitting with the families all day long if we need to, and just sitting there talking to them. What can we do to support? What can we do to help you? What can we do to, be there for you? We're taking calls sometimes at 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. when someone is having an emotional, rundown of the day. When mom is, just moved in and she's trying to transition into her new place and maybe the air isn't right and that's just triggering her now because she says, "I knew this wasn't the right move for me," and all of that. We're taking those calls and making sure that we're being that third party to say, "Here's what we can do. Here's what we can do to make you more comfortable." What else can we do is a big question for us too.
A huge part, though, that I would say is the resource piece that we work into meeting the families.
Yeah.
Never necessarily something that happens right away. We can say, "Hey, let us come and visit you. Let's see how you're doing, how you're thriving at home. How's your loved one doing there?" And take it step by step, right? So what makes it a little bit easier is that not everything is an emergency. So if we plan a little bit ahead, then we're able to make those decisions together instead of last minute, where it becomes even more difficult.
So tell me, who is the type of client that's going to reach out? What would necessitate them reaching out to you?
Oh, so many different things. So many. We've had clients reach out and say they want to prepare for the future. That's a huge one. they come to us and say, I'm not ready yet. I'm ready in 5 years, or maybe when I need assisted living. I'm super independent right now. We work with them just the same. We say, okay, here's the options. Here's what you could go through. Here's planning, right? Longevity of their income, because everything goes up per year. We want to make sure that we're having a continuum of care, according to their budget and their needs. And then we have other individuals that unfortunately come to us and say, you know what, mom or dad, maybe something happened. Maybe they had a fall. Maybe they came home for Christmas and noticed mom and dad aren't doing very well. We need something ASAP. And we just put our feet to the ground and say, okay, here's what we can do at this time. So honestly, a lot of people come to us in all different steps and stages, but we just handle it and take care of what we need to do in the moment to make it happen.
Okay. So what's the best scenario? Is it that someone reaches out proactively thinking ahead for the future? Is that the best way? Would it be when that time comes and they are now at a place of like, okay, mom keeps falling, we need to find her something? Like, what's the ideal time to reach out?
So I would say when you start noticing the little things, right? For somebody who lives alone at home, check their refrigerator, see what's going on in there, check to see if they're picking up the mail, talk to their neighbors, because things and signs are there before we even figure out that somebody fell and hurt themselves. Sooner is always better than later. Emergency situations arise, but wouldn't it be 1,000 times better if you saw the home you were going to go to before you had to move in last minute?
Right.
So sooner rather than later, for sure. Look for signs of people around you. We talk a lot with neighbors, and they go, we're not there yet, thank you. We don't need to talk to you.
Yeah.
And our key thing to say is, hey, might not be for you, but think about that neighbor who's not picking up their mail every day, or who burned their feet walking down, the driveway because they forgot to put shoes on. So signs are out there, and we just have to see them.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
What some people don't know is that a lot of these properties and these independent, whether it's independent assisted memory, no matter what it is, a lot of these properties will offer for the residents to come in prior, right? Not even just the tour, prior for like maybe a lunch or the activities, or maybe they're having a community event. That helps a lot with the transition, because when someone has an emergency, right? If they fall and then they say, it's Friday afternoon and I just fell, but I need something by Monday morning. You're all of a sudden in a new environment. You're in a new care place. You're having individuals help with your care that you've never met. New neighbors, new food, new everything. But if you ahead of time tour, right, and say, okay, I've narrowed it down to these two that I really love. And then next month you go for the community event. It's not right now that you need it, but maybe later. You're already meeting the people who are there. You're already meeting the staff. If you go next time for a lunch, right, then you're talking one-on-one with the residents. You're meeting who could potentially be your neighbors. So then when you do need it, you're walking in, you're having familiar faces say hi to you.
Yes.
You're knowing the community. Even if it's different staff, you still know how they run. You still know how they train their staff. And as a whole, it just becomes a
And
way
how good the food
easier.
is.
Yes.
Because the food is good.
Right.
It's funny that you say that. I have clients right now, we're selling their house, and husband and wife, the husband, just his medical needs were just getting greater and greater, and he was falling. And she reached out and said, he fell 3 times last month, where we had to have the fire department come because she couldn't help him up. And so they started exploring options and had found a place that they liked, just thinking, down the road eventually. And this place had a long wait list. Anyways, they ended up getting the phone call that they could get in early. And so she had reached out to me about selling, and they had started going even before they had planned to move in, to go eat there, to go do some of the activities. And so I was just talking to her this week, because they made the final move this week into this facility, and she's like, we're excited. We are looking forward to it. We already know the people. We've been to our room, and just felt it, I can tell it made that process easier for them.
And I've had clients in the past too, once they get set into a facility, they're a whole new person because they do meet their friends, and they come alive when they meet their neighbors. Because in some of these facilities, it's not a facility where you think, back in the time when we, back grandparents, but these are little apartments that have kitchenettes and bedrooms and a place for family to come and actually meet. So they're more like little apartments in some of the facilities. So I know that you ladies have a wide wealth of knowledge about facilities around the valley, right? So tell us a little bit about like differences between facilities too.
Community styles, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you wanna-
Up to you.
Oh,
Whoever.
we'll chat a little about both. We'll both take it.
You can start with the first half. I'll take over after that.
Perfect. So, communities around the valley, there's independent living, assisted living, memory care. What does that even mean, right? Where do I fit in? Most of these communities, and this is where it gets a little boring, so don't mind me and my background, but we do a little bit of investigating. What would be best for you? Because independent living and assisted living can be very, very thin line in between those needs. So what would be best for you? Providing medication, providing your meals, transportation, laundry. I mean, great things. If I can get my laundry run done once a week, I'd be the happiest.
Yeah.
But these great things that go along with community living, but not to mention the activity programs. I think that's what really sets the different communities apart, based on needs and what there is. And then great nursing services and what they provide. Mobile everything, dentistry, podiatry, you name it, they have it. Cardiology, amazing. But then there's also group homes, and group homes have such a bad rep at times where, and I'll let Ari talk about this because she sees group homes all day long, and they're amazing. They really are amazing, and the type of residents that may need that group home setting.
I think what it really comes down to is that with a lot of seniors and a lot of people, I don't even want to just say seniors, but individuals think assisted living is just you go in, you get your care, you sit there, and maybe you have your private apartment or maybe you have your private area, but for the most part, it's for your care needs. And I think what individuals have to separate in their head is that there's a lot more that goes into senior living than just care. That's the priority, right? We want to make sure one's safe and taken care of. But the quality of life, the social aspect, a lot of people will say, I want to live in my home as long as possible. And I completely understand that. And I'm sure that I'll be like that. I'm sure that I'll age in place and be like, I love my home, because you should love your home. But when you're sitting in your home, when you could be playing, golf with someone, or you could go out and be crafting with someone, or maybe you've loved to sew all your life and now you get the opportunity to do so where maybe you couldn't before. You don't have a craft room, you don't have those things, you don't have anyone to have conversation with or eat with and stuff. I think the quality of life just changes and for the long term.
Yeah.
And I think that with all of these different options, they offer a little bit more of a unique experience to that individual. So with the residential care homes, or the group homes is what we call them, that is for sure an individual who loves the intimacy. They love to know one-on-one who they're going to be around. They love to have that connection with others. They love to sit and maybe not meet someone new at the dining table in a really big area. They love to sit at their dining room table in their home and talk to the same person because they know them that well. That is 100% for those individuals. In other places might be a little larger, and that's for the individuals who maybe are chatty Cathy. They want to go around table to table and say, what did you have to eat today? And I had this, and are you going to meet me here? And
And let's go to bingo.
Yeah, stuff like that. So there definitely is a huge social aspect that individuals don't realize when they go into assisted living. They just think this is my care needs and that's that. But there is so much more that goes into it than just that.
And with that right care and things like that, people bloom. Like they bloom.
Yeah.
And we can tell you stories, but we see people who are hermits. They're in their home, they're in their room, they don't ever leave that one space. Turn to, hey, we're going to go to the wine tasting today, and I'll see you later for dinner, and I'm going to sit in my same table.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful to see.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
My mom lives in a memory care facility, and it was a very hard move for us. But now that, and she's been there for a little while, but she'll tell me, thank you. She loves having her space. She loves that it's kind of, decorated. It has like all of her photos, so it just feels like her own. But for me and my sister, it's so great because it gives us peace of mind knowing that she's being cared for should something happen.
Yeah.
And she does, she'll have falls every once in a while, which are hard, but they're right there to take care of that. So for us, that peace of mind is so valuable.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
and
then-
she's around quality people, right? Trained quality people. They're not just individuals who are going to go in and say, You want to shower? Okay, let's just do it.
Right.
You're around people who train for this,
Yeah.
and know this, and
Yeah.
get certified in this, so they know every little bit of the diagnosis and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
I'm
it's
sure,
really
yeah.
awesome. Like when we take her out, we'll go to dinner, whatever, and then bring her back. Everybody, hi Robin, hi Robin. They, you're like, oh, they know my mom, you know. So it makes it a lot easier.
And not everything's perfect. You know, there are
course.
hiccups. There's hiccups, and our job is to make sure that not only the communities are taken care of, the residents are taken care of, and they work together. Because
that.
you have to have happy people taking care
Yeah.
of happy people. you
Well,
know,
and I
so-
think I have a friend whose mom is dealing with her dad who had a stroke and moving him around and all of that. And I've offered help for her, and she doesn't want to take it. And I think people think I can do this on my own. But there is so much value in having someone that can help navigate. What are your options? What do those look like, right? So that you're not having to go figure it out on your own.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Today's episode is sponsored by Eco Roofing. Eco is led by a third-generation Arizona roofer who is also the president of the Arizona Roofing Contractors Association. They offer free estimates and the best warranties in the states for shingle and tile roofs. They love giving back to their community and will always be here to serve you.
Absolutely.
Not only that, but the caregiver burnout is real. It is real, and you want to make sure that you're still a family member, and there's no
Right.
resentment, and there's no sadness, that goes along with caring for a loved one who does have those medical needs.
100%. You know, I mean, this is super personal, but my mom lived with us before we moved her, and she was falling a lot, and it was hard. My kids would call, Mom, Grandma fell, I can't get her up. My husband's a firefighter, so when he's on shift, I'm calling him like, tell me how to get her up. Like, it was really hard. And I know it got hard for him. And long story short, their relationship now is like so much better. In fact, he was telling me, this made me emotional. Did not expect that. He was telling me yesterday that he went to go visit her and he had to help her with something.
It's okay.
Stupid. Anyways, she was so happy to see him, and she was like crying when he got there. And it's kind of amazing because their relationship was so strained when she lived with us, but to be on the other side, it's like it is a gift. Sorry.
No, it's raw. It's what we live through, and you have the support, people around you to help you, and that's beautiful to see.
Yeah.
It's beautiful to see.
And I've got to say that these two ladies, they have the most compassionate hearts.
Yes.
So that's
You
why
have
they
to, I
are
think.
so
Yeah.
great with the industry, with what they do, because they do care. Because the industry had gotten such a bad reputation years and years and years ago, because there was no advocate
Yes.
between the families and the facilities.
Yeah.
And these ladies fill that gap because
love
they've
that.
got that compassionate heart.
Yeah.
And they just do well with what they do.
Yeah.
So they know how to speak with the parents. They know how to speak with the kids. They know how to navigate the system. They know
Yeah.
solutions that they can bring to the families. So I think it takes that compassionate heart to also really show your true calling. It's what you do, and you're just blessings to a lot of seniors' lives, because it does. It really changes the seniors when they're placed in a place where they know they're cared for, they're loved, and they have the opportunity for visits, for family. And when family come, they see all the how happy they are.
Yes.
It just brings joy to everybody.
Yeah. I think it takes that
Yeah.
pressure off that can often be on that relationship, like you were saying, to be the caregiver, to be the one to, worrying about them. So but it's hard. It's really, really hard. Let's talk about, kind of switch gears. How do you pay for it?
Yeah.
What are the options?
How do you pay for like the seniors
Senior living,
pay for
yeah.
senior living? There's a couple different options. So a lot of individuals obviously, have their retirement plan, their pensions, their social securities, all of that. That's the easy route. For individuals who maybe don't have those, items, the pension and all of that, a lot of it is through maybe property, land, real estate that they over time sell because they wouldn't be returning back. And then there's state funding programs. So there's, different long-term care that you can buy into or kind of, invest into in your 50s, 60s to kind of prepare for it. There's Arizona long-term care, which she can speak a lot about. She does a lot of that portion with us. But and then there's, veteran, stuff like
Programs
that.
and things like that.
So there's a lot of different ways. Individuals always say, or we hear this a lot, my Social Security doesn't cover it, therefore I cannot get care. And that is the hardest thing to hear because that's so far from the truth. Whether an individual has, let's say, a ton of money or no money, it doesn't matter because there are options to get them the right care. Do you want to talk on Arizona long-term care?
So
I think that's huge.
For sure. Arizona Long-Term Care is a program funded here in Arizona. It helps with individuals who need physical and financial assistance in order to either get assistance in their home or to move into a community, like the ones we were speaking of. So we go hand in hand, no matter what it is, no matter where you're at in that line, we will help you the exact same way. That funding is amazing, and if you need it, we will help you get it. We help with the application process. We help answering those questions. We really go alongside that, which I think is really cool. Yeah. It's really, really cool for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it sounds like there's options.
There is.
So if you feel like you don't have the income or the money set aside for long-term existence, then there are options that people can use. So just want to make sure that everybody's aware that you're available to help them find those options.
We help answer those questions. We get calls with people saying, hey, I really only do have my Social Security, and what do I do next? Or calling in favors. Hey, I need help, and they need help, and until we're able to qualify for a program, can we get help? And there are some pretty amazing people, so we're very blessed because we have those connections, and we've made those connections along the last, however many years, 10 years, 20 years. How old am I? To really make those connections and talk to those people because they do help us, and they're in it for the right reasons.
Yeah,
which I think is amazing.
And then Medicare, we get asked this question a lot. Does Medicare pay for it? It does not. But with Medicare, there's additional services that they cover. So let's say someone goes into an assisted living and they need a certain amount of care needs, but they need a little bit more than that. Maybe they need strength training. Maybe they need extra eyes on them. There's home health that can come in. That's covered through Medicare. That's not a private pay cost. There's different mobile services, mobile podiatry, or mobile dentistry. There's a bus that comes right in front of the assisted livings, and when you walk onto the bus, it feels and smells and looks like an exact dentist office, and it's all mobile.
Ari won't get on that bus because she's terrified. Terrified.
I don't like needles. I don't like it. No weird smells.
So it's definitely the real deal for sure.
I avoid it. No. But Medicare covers that. So these things are in addition to all this. So overall, when an individual goes to an assisted living, they can have as much support as they need. It doesn't just stop there. It doesn't stop with the same few caregivers coming in to help shower. It just continues. And that's the beauty of it. So
I imagine you guys have some stories that you could share, like maybe a success story or someone that was in a place where they were having to make that difficult decision and it was probably hard for them. I imagine it's often harder for people than it is easier, right? Because it is a major life change and sometimes that's hard to accept. So do you have any of those that you could share?
We do. You know what I'm thinking about? I'll tell you one that really, this is how we know that God works in mysterious ways.
Curious to know if we're thinking the same one.
I think we're thinking the same one. I know we are. We had a little couple. We are thinking the same one. This little couple, the most amazing people. They were French. Most amazing people lived in this golf course in Mesa, but they rented. So they didn't have their home there. They rented this little place, and he needed a lot of help. And when you think of this couple, this little lady, tiny little lady, most
probably
beautiful lady,
4 foot nothing.
Yeah.
She just walks around 4 foot here, and you're like, are you doing?
and he had the best smile. He used to work for Disney in Orlando, and when you saw him, he was just the happiest man. Even though he had a lot of comorbidities, lots of pain all the time, needed a lot of hands-on assistance. They were very financially restricted. very much so. So she would Uber everywhere to get groceries. Sometimes they would miss meals. I don't even know how she got our number. I can't even remember, but they pulled at our heartstrings to the fullest extent. We totally fell in love with them. They ended up needing assisted living, but financially they couldn't afford it. We ended up moving them and calling in some favors to this wonderful community where she basically lived for free. He got taken care of. I mean, she was the happiest. Funny story, they called us twice for help because care changed quite a bit, but nobody came to pick up the furniture. They were supposed to get their furniture picked up. Nobody came.
The moving company dropped the ball. First it was 9 a.m., then it was 11, and then long story short, it came all the way to 5 p.m. They're like, sorry, we just can't make it today. And these individuals had already been transported to the new community, so it's not like they could transport back and stay. All their stuff had to come with. So
we had the new community really did us a huge favor by allowing them to stay in a guest apartment. My husband and her boyfriend, now fiance, went and we rented a U-Haul and we moved all their items over there. And
oh my goodness.
Just her face and how happy she was and how grateful she was, and the letter, she wrote us a letter. That letter, oh my gosh, she wrote us each a letter, and the letter was like, we don't know how we could ever repay you and what we can do for you, and we're gonna pray for you. And you know, they were the most amazing people, and I think it really touched us.
It touched our hearts a lot. And she would call, and she wouldn't call just to chit chat. She called to pray. And so she would sit there and be like, I was just thinking about you guys, and is this an okay time? And then she'd just like say her prayer. And her and I, it didn't matter what we were doing. We would drop everything and just listen, because that is the sweetest thing I think we've ever.
She's the reason why we do what we do. I mean, a lot of the people that we work with, but just she really did open her eyes to a lot.
She touched us for sure.
It sounds like, you know, not only are you guys good at what you do, but you really genuinely care. And I think that goes a long way. And people feel that, you know. I feel like we try to have that same, and I know our heart is that same with our clients too, right? To not only help them like and provide the best service, but like genuinely care about them at the end of the day. And people know that. That's amazing.
This was what, 4 years ago?
Yeah,
just about 4 years ago. Yeah. And we could literally
live
that day. We can literally live that day, but like we could tell you exactly what happened at what time. It was good.
And the thing about that day is that I can wholeheartedly say that one day of trying to get them moved and the movers not showing up, and just that was one out of probably 10 things that went slippery slope. Other resources didn't show up, and it was just such a shame for such a wonderful couple. That was by far the hardest day we've ever emotionally and everything. I don't even mean like work-wise. Like work-wise, it's not a problem. We come, you know, we can do that. But emotionally, that was the hardest day we've ever worked in this position. But it also was the most rewarding. Because just to see that was the biggest moment in, I think, our careers, where we saw that relax of the shoulders for the seniors themselves. We saw her look at us, and you could just see in her eyes, she was so, oh my gosh, and then all of a sudden she just saw all the pieces come together at the end of the day, and she said,
and we kept saying, just don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We got it.
You were able to keep them together.
I love that.
I would say that's a success.
So if someone is listening and thinking, okay, you know, my parents are getting to that age, or maybe it's me myself and I maybe need to consider this, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
Just call us. Call us. We have our number out. We can give it out. But just, you know, we have a website, goldeneraseniorsolutions.net. We have a contact button that goes directly to our phone. So we answer the phone. It's two of us. We love it.
We pride ourselves in the fact that we're always available. And we'll stay true to that. We are always available. If you text or call at night, it doesn't matter. It's okay. You call after hours. This is an industry where things happen, not within business hours. And that's okay. So we want to show our clients that. Call anytime. We're always available.
We understand that.
We do.
What didn't we ask you that we should have asked you guys?
I always just say this, hey, like, call sooner, you know, even if there's no dumb question, there's never a dumb question. So if you need help with meals because parents aren't getting enough meals, or maybe you need somebody at home to place a grab bar, because you're out of town, or whatever it is that you need. We have those resources, and we have those friends, and we have those connections. So there's pretty much nothing we can't do, I'll say.
That's fantastic.
Or we'll find a way.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
And we're a free service. So we're
yeah,
not
me too.
charged hourly for our time. You're not charged a lump sum at the end of the month. We are 100% a free service. You call, we'll be in home doing an assessment if you need us.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, we like to end with a little speed round. Are you ladies up for some rapid fire questions?
Let's do it.
Sure.
Okay. Do you
do
have a
it.
favorite
I'm gonna sit up for
food?
this one.
Oh, meat tacos.
Tacos?
Yes.
Nachos?
Oh, for sure.
What about a favorite drink?
Jamaica
Margarita.
water. Oh, I'm like Jamaica.
I thought you were
Yes.
going to say margarita.
I thought
so
you thought that it's
hoping we'd say it at the
tequila
same
time. No, I'm just kidding.
We would say that at the same time.
I love it. What about a favorite book?
Oh.
Are you guys readers?
I there's one book that really stuck with me, and it's really weird. It's called "It Happened to Nancy."
Okay.
So that's one of the books that really did stick with me for
Okay.
a long time. And
Is
I'm
it
reading
like,
that one.
it sounds like a mystery or something.
It's what, it's not. It's about a girl
Okay.
who got AIDS,
oh,
and the way that she got him, and
okay.
it's just really interesting. It's a very
Okay.
interesting read, and
Love
I'm never
it.
gonna forget it.
Okay. I
It's a
love
great
to
book.
read.
Yeah, Happened to Nancy.
Happen to
Good one.
Nancy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to read that. Mine is a very interesting title. It says what I was doing while you were breeding.
Oh.
And it's about a woman who started her family in her late 40s. And so she talks about all of her journey of everything she did and
Wow.
every weird thing she did and every, amazing thing she did before she had the opportunity to start a family. And her stories are they're amazing.
That's cool.
It's an autobiography. She's amazing.
Okay. What about, do you have a favorite podcast?
Not yet,
Not
but
yet.
hey,
This
I
one.
think this
This
one now.
one. This
Gotta,
one.
yes.
We'll have to listen to it for sure.
Okay. And then last but not least, what about a favorite vacation?
Oh,
You want to go?
you go first.
Me first? Okay. So my favorite spot ever is Isla Holbox
Okay.
in Cancun, Mexico.
Okay.
It is a dream.
Is
A
it?
dream. It's the most beautiful island in the middle of the ocean, and it's a dream.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. Holbox. Yeah.
I've been to Cancun, but not to that island.
Take a ferry. So it's a 2-hour drive and then a
Yeah.
ferry.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's the most beautiful thing you ever see in your life. They have the
sounds
best
secluded.
mangoes.
Right?
Sounds very
Yeah.
secluded.
There's no cars on the island.
Amazing.
Yeah. No cars.
She swam with a whale shark there.
I did.
And had this incredible ocean Moana
Yeah.
story.
Yes,
yeah, you
yes.
were Moana.
I was Moana for a day, and
that day.
I'm terrified of the ocean, but I was not that day.
I love it.
Yes,
That's
it's
awesome.
my favorite. What about yours?
I think my favorite would be Australia. That
Australia.
one, yeah, a little bit of everything. There's
Yeah.
city, there's the
Yeah.
very, very kangaroo dirt. You're in
Yeah.
the wilds, and then there's also the coast, which is just
Yeah.
beautiful. So I think that would be
I
my
always
favorite.
think of like huge spiders when I think of Australia. Did
You know what? They're
see-
there.
Oh
They're
no!
there.
See, no.
But
Yeah.
I will say they're not by the water. So if you're
okay,
if you
there
stick
you go.
by the beach,
Stay by
you're
the
good.
beach. Okay.
To the sharks. Be careful of the sharks.
Okay,
Yes.
Yes. Well, thank you, ladies, for being with us. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
sharing. And I really hope that someone hears this and maybe makes it a little less scary for them to take that next step and at least just have a conversation, right?
We appreciate it. We appreciate you guys. Thank
Well,
you.
we
for having
appreciate
us.
you guys. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
We would love it
Thank
if you would
you.
like and subscribe to this episode, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening to the Real Deal podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe, and you can follow us on social media at the Home Selling Team AZ.